Get online. We're just making sure we are streaming. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Gaz Williams Show. And yes, curious one tonight. I'm just going to be making sure that we are streaming before I get yabbering on about what's going to be happening. And what have we got in front of us today is the TC Electronic Plethora X5. Okay, so this is quite a nice form factor, and I had all of the of the first generation of the Toneprint pedals, but this is actually the second generation, and I'll go through things in a moment, but I'm just going to air a few frustrations that I've got. Firstly, my goodness, it's a hot and muggy day here in Bristol, and I am absolutely dripping with sweat. So I apologise if a sweaty man is not what you want to see today. That's what you're going to get. Okay, I'm just waiting to see some chat room confirmation that we're streaming. So if you can say a quick hello, that would be great. Yeah, great. Thank you so much. We are working. We are rocking and rolling. Okay, now my frustration is, I'll show you one of my frustrations. Right, I've got the iPad plugged in using the editor, which is essential for the Plethora. It's absolutely essential. Now, if I come here, let's have a look. Let's just go here. No, let's go here. Okay. Now, on the Plethora itself, actually, I'm just going to make another camera setup. Let me just do that so we can see. Just do this on here. We can see. I'll just get myself set up a moment, and I'll go in channel 1 and 2. Okay. Let's just switch onto this. It'll be a bit funny at the moment. All right, now that'll nearly do. I just need to move this input 2 over a little bit. Input 2, center. No, that's all right. That one's all right. And then just move that one over a little bit. Yeah, like so. I'm not sure this is going to work, and I'll show you why. I'm really frustrated about this. Okay, so the process for connecting to your iOS device is that this has Bluetooth in it. So we go into our menu. We go in. Do you know what? I'm going to restart this thing just in case it might be that. But honestly, I get it set up, ready to go, and then it just stops doing what it should do just before my show. And that is really, really irritating. So it's just going through the boot up procedure. Okay. So in the setup for the app, the Toneprint app. This Toneprint app is the general one for all Toneprints, of which the Plethora is part of the Toneprint range. Okay, and we go connect to a Bluetooth enabled pedal, and then on here we go into the settings. So edit, flip to the bottom, settings, global Bluetooth, connect, searching, found, click to connect, not connected. I don't know what's going on. It's refusing to connect. Maybe there's too many Bluetooth devices in here or something, but it's not connecting. So what I had planned a little bit tonight is absolutely screwed up by that. So I'm a bit knocked off about it, I'm afraid, because, you know, this kind of irritating, you know, connection, especially when how important it is. But it's telling me on the thing itself that it's connected. But it isn't connected, because when you change things on here, it should actually follow. It should follow, and it's not. Okay, I've got a plan. Bear with me. It's not as good as it was meant to be. Grrr. Apologies for any background noise. I've got all the windows wide open and there's lots of sort of city noise going on, so that might cause some kind of background noise. I'm afraid about that. But okay, so I was going to use my iPad because it's a nice bigger screen, and I've been using it with my phone. but I disabled. I had like Bluetooth disabled. See, disabled. So I don't know. It's just not connecting. So anyway, what we'll do is we'll try and use the phone instead. It's going to be a little bit fiddlier, but I want to bring you the best quality entertainment I can. Let me just make sure Bluetooth is off on this one. Okay. Let's go to the phone instead. And then enable Bluetooth. And then we'll go into that app. And we'll see if we can get this thing working. And let's go into the app. And I'll just probably have to just shufty the thing around a little bit and position it a little bit. Oh, right. Grr! I'm annoyed. I hate it when the technology lets me down. It was working earlier, so, you know, I don't know why. Don't know why. Anyway, long-term viewers of the show know that I often have struggles with blooming technology. Right, let's do it. So go in here, and we're going to go connect to a Bluetooth device. And then in the settings, just making sure I'm not giving away too much. Connect. Connected. We're in. So it connected with that one. All right. It connected with that. So, okay. I'm just going to change the screen around a little bit just to make allowances for the smaller iPhone screen. Okay, we'll work with the iPhone screen. And then, right, for those of you who saw me earlier talking about tonight's show, oh, my camera's gone on the wonk now. Oh, well, we'll just be on a little bit of a wonk. We're on a wonky mission tonight, everyone. So, you know, a little bit of wonk amongst friends isn't going to cause too much OCD, is it? Yeah. Oh, dear. Yeah, I'm hot, I'm bothered, and my gear's malfunctioning, you know. Anyway, right. I mentioned the thing about this on the show. This effects unit. I was curious to see what it would be like as a tabletop kind of effects unit, because it does promise quite a lot, and it doesn't really function that well in that role. And I'll go through reasons why. Now, that's not to dismiss this as a foot controlled effect. That's what it's for. But to kind of have it like on a desktop and use it as a tweaky kind of effect, I don't think is that great. And I'll go through some reasons why that is, but we'll also go through some reasons why it may actually be good for what you might be interested in. Now, why did I get it? I bought it from my pedal board, and it actually fits in the space of 2 pedals, and it does the work of 5 pedals. And I think, you know, from the pedal board point of view, I think it's actually pretty good. But as I say, from a desktop point of view, there are some major issues with it. Now, whether some of those issues will be addressed in upcoming firmware will remain to be seen. It did receive a fairly big update about 6 months ago that really did improve it in some significant ways. It added a couple more of the Toneprint effects that were missing. I think notably the phaser and the kind of univibe thing that's in there. But it also brought in a looper, and not just one looper. You can have 5 loopers. Now that's quite exciting as well. 5 independent loopers, but I say independent, and that's going to lead up to one of the real drawbacks of this. Now you may notice it does in fact have Midi DIN plugs on there, so that's promising. But what it doesn't do, let's just come out and say it, it doesn't have any MIDI sync options. Boo! Yes, yes, it doesn't. So even though there's a lot of time-based effects like delays, etc., and of course you could have 5 different delays on here, there is no way to have a master tempo. The tempo of all of them are individual. So for instance, if you use the tap tempo, you set one of the switches up to be tap tempo, it would just only set the tempo for the one effect. There's no global tempo that everything locks to. Now that kind of gets even worse when you start working with the loopers. You can do 5 independent loopers, but they cannot sync at all. So that is yeah, that is a real drawback for certain uses. Now on my pedal board, I don't need MIDI sync, so that's okay. So what I got it for, and as I say, you know, for a lot of people, I'm sure it will be fine. But for a lot of us who want to kind of connect it up with gear, then that's a major, major blow. And I was disappointed that it didn't have that facility on there. And speaking of facility, something that's quite important to also know about with this is the amount of onboard editability is extremely limited. It really does need the app as well. Okay, the app, if you want to mess with the settings, you really have to have an app installed. Hey, Tanith saying that's a deal breaker. Yeah, it is. But it could have a firmware update. I suspect it will have a firmware update, whether that will maybe address some of the issues, but right now there is no sync, so that's a pretty big one. However, it is still a very unique prospect, and I'll go over some of the reasons why. And now you may have noticed plugged in, I have got the old venerable OP1 from Teenage Engineering. This is obviously a modern classic, and I haven't been using it for a bit recently, but it's something I always come back to and always enjoy. I'm sure everybody's familiar with this little thing, but yeah, inky, but they sync to each other. No, what you have to think about with this is it's like 5 effects pedals, and most effects pedals, unless they've got some MIDI or some other sync option, are like individual pedals that live in their own little universe. That's very much the case with this. So anyway, let's just have a little look then. So when I flick it into the kind of play mode, okay, so this little toggle switch switches it to edit and play. Then when you're in play mode, these controls don't do anything. Okay, they don't do anything. Now, the last update did add this thing called hot knobs, which we will look at, which allow you to map these 3. But these rotary encoders, push encoders, they don't do anything in the play mode. So again, this is why when you think about this thing as a pedal on the floor, and sadly primarily aimed at guitarists and bassists, then that's fine, because you don't necessarily change the settings very much, but yeah, so these things are like kind of redundant in the play mode, and I kind of think that's a bit of a shame. Maybe this one could just be like a kind of overall volume or something like that, but no. However, as I say, you can assign these to be hot knobs, but there's a little bit of an issue. There is, if you do assign them and then adjust, you can't see. You can set them to adjust parameters across all 5 effects, but as you change it, you don't see any indication on the screen of what parameter you're actually changing. Okay, now obviously I'm sounding like I'm being a bit harsh on this thing, and it is actually pretty good. It is actually really good. Actually, it does have some very special features, which we will look at. Okay, but let's just understand it in principle then first. Right, they talk about it as a pedal board, and as such, there's another little switch over here called board, and then this will allow me to flick through the different pedal boards. Okay, so like this one, for instance, we got a compressor, noise gate, pitch shifter, delay, and reverb. And yes, the effects run this direction and this direction only, which kind of makes sense from a reading point of view. But if you think about it, most guitar pedals, the input jack is on the right, and most effects pedals, the direction goes that way, and there's no facility to flip the signal flow. The signal flows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also there is no facility to do parallel paths or anything like that. the sound of this one goes into this one, goes into this one, goes into this one, goes into this one. So it is, you know, it is a kind of linear thing. There's no splitting of that. There is on the back though, however, send and return, and you can put that, you can insert that, you can move that around, and you can put that kind of anywhere in the signal path, which is cool. Now guitarists, they like to do this thing called the four cable method. Yes, you can do this. What that would mean is you can set the send and return to be wherever you like. So you could say, I want the compressor and like maybe the noise gate, pitch shifter perhaps, to be before the amp, send it out, and then it return back in after, you know, and then back, send out into the front of your amp, back out of the effects send from your amp, if so long as it's got it, back into here, and then back into your amp. So, you know, into your effects loop of your amp. So that bit is in your effects loop, and that bit is at the beginning. Now, Wagyu saying, I wonder if the pedals can feed back into themselves, or depends. No. So no, you know, you really do have to think about these as like a kind of fixed pedal. What you can do though, which is kind of neat though, is if I wanted to swap any of the order around, like for instance, if I wanted to put the pitch shifter after the delay, you know, you just press and hold both buttons down, and then it flips the order, you know. So if I want to put the compressor at the end and the reverb at the front, you can do that by doing that sort of thing. So that's pretty cool. Now, so I mentioned it's 5 different effects, and there's a bunch of these boards then, and these boards are like, you know, I think there's 20 or so that it ships with. But let's go to an empty one up the top here. Okay, a user board. No, let's go one more. Oh, all right, I know what I need to do. I would need to go edit, flick up here, and go create. Okay. You know, you've got 5 really nice high-resolution color screens, which are quite joyful to use. I just feel that so much more could be done with it. Again, maybe it will. Right, so I've now made an empty board. If I go into play mode, it says empty board, and none of the pedals are populated. But then if we go down into edit, then I choose which one I want to load by selecting here, and then this left one here lets me flick through all of our available effects. Let's just go through that quickly. We got a chorus, a compressor, delay, the flashback. You know, I'm sure if you're familiar with these TC effects, they are the ones that, you know, that you'll know. Delay, the mimic, doubler, vortex flanger, quintessence harmony, and then the tape deck looper, which is an exclusive to the Plethora. Sentry, noise gate, woohoo, noise gate. It is useful, but shame that it uses up a whole pedal. It would be really nice just to have a noise gate that you could enable, like a global one, but no. The sub and up octaver, now that one is polyphonic octaver, which is cool for guitarists. The helix phaser, brainwaves pitch shifter, Hall of Fame 2 reverb, which that is a cool reverb. It has been for many years one of the standard bearers of digital pedal reverbs. Pipeline tap tremolo, the viscous vibe, which is our uni vibe, shaker vibrato. So these two fairly similar ground, but vibrato, you can put an empty, like if you want to leave one blank, and then the effects loop, and then that's where our settings are. So okay, so let's say for instance in this first one we load in a chorus. So I choose a chorus, then what we're presented with are 3 effects, 3 parameters that we can adjust. Now, depth, speed, and effects level. And no matter what you set these to do, they will always be called depth, speed, and effects level. And underneath here, it will actually tell you in the smaller text what they're actually doing. The reason for this is all effects only ever have 3 adjustable parameters on board. If you want to set it up differently, you have to use the app. But the other thing is, on the right hand side of this, they call this the Toneprint pedal. And so all of the tone prints, or loads of the tone prints, are preloaded, and you can, through the app, go and load a load more. Now, tone prints are, in some cases, have been developed with some famous artists, so there's a load of presets, mostly guitarists, some bass players, but no keyboard players. But anyway, when you load in a tone print, what that will do is it'll bring in like a version of the chorus with the parameters defined by the tone print, and that actually may change what some of these knobs actually do. So let's see, for instance, if we went to Tritronics, yeah, they're still labeled depth, speed, and effects level, but the first controls, there's like 3 depths that it can control. Speed, control speed, but also depth 1 and 3. So they're different, you know. That one's pretty much the same. Yeah, I mean, they kind of have more or less stick to that format. Okay. Oh, just checking in the chat room. Mac can't hear us. Okay, I think sound is all right. If anyone can verify that, just check my levels. They look okay. They sound okay, unless I could turn mine up a little bit more. Well, we're going to get to the good stuff, and we'll start playing some things around, because, you know, as much as I have been kind of pointing out some of the negatives, there are a lot of positives on here. Andrew Brooks is saying 375 quid. Yeah, you'll find it around that. I think I actually found this one a little bit cheaper. I think I got it for around 350, I think, maybe. Right, let me just check some questions. Okay, thank you very much for confirming the sound. Let's see. Questions. GNU Ninja saying, I know this is heresy, but I prefer the sound of my instruments dry. Not a huge effects user, alas. That's fairly cool. El Guapo told me I don't even know what a plethora is. Certainly the first time I ever heard of the word plethora was from the Three Amigos 1980s film. So, what is a plethora? Right. Okay. Let's see. I'm just checking if there is any other questions I've missed. Andrew Brooks was asking, will it work with Eurorack levels, or will it need to be padded? Yeah, you would need to pad down. The Eurorack would be too hot for it. But it does seem to handle line input quite well. Right. Okay. So Wagoo's asking, is there a tape echo? Yeah, I'll show you what that is now. So Tanith is saying you wouldn't put it on your pedal board either. Prefer your pedals to have one job each. Well, I mean, that's kind of what this thing is trying to do, that you set it up to be one job each, as opposed to like multi-effects sometimes, or, you know, can get quite convoluted. But, you know, you could always decide what each one was and stick to that. So, okay, I've loaded the chorus in this first slot. In the second slot, let's put a phaser. Again, same thing. Actually, if I can put this in the screen, you'll see what happens as well. Every time you load something in, you can see that it'll change the settings. And if we were to, I'll get this up in a moment, and we'll look at the kind of just the depth of the programmability, which is actually surprisingly deep. Okay, but you do not have that programmability on board, which seems a bit of a shame to me, given that you've got these lovely screens, and actually these encoders feel really nice. And speaking of feeling really nice, the whole thing has a really nice build quality. It definitely feels, you know, stage worthy. It's surprisingly weighty. And I'm also going to talk in a moment about the mash functionality. Now that was the reason that I got this, was the mash functionality. Okay, let's just populate this board though. So I was going to put a phaser on that second one, and then on the third one, let's have a tremolo. being a bit more traditional here. On the 4th, we'll have a delay. And in 5th, of course, we'll have a reverb on the end here. And oops, wrong way. So when you select them from here, these 3 controls are your editability ones for each of the effects. And that's the way you do it. So when you're in play mode, like if I flick to play mode and we get our display showing what everything is, yeah, these things, unless you map them, do nothing, and these do nothing either. But I did mention these foot switches. Now you can see the word mash maybe just about there. I wonder if I just zoom this a little bit just to show this. Yeah, let's go right in on here. Okay, so where it says mash here, these foot switches, smeary. I just peeled the plastic off this just the moments before the show. Oh well, it's got my tone prints on it now. Right, mash. These are clever switches. They can be, you know, just toggle on and off. But if you press and hold it, then it's an expression pedal. And you can see next to the mash there, you can see just how much pressure is being applied. And it's a little hard work with your finger, as you'd imagine. This is designed for your feet after all. And I think my major verdict about this pedal is it's designed for your feet. And it's let's back up a little bit, get away from my greasy fingertips. Oh man, honestly, it's baking. It's like humid. It's not nice here. Well, it's nice and not nice. You know what I'm talking about. But that means that you've got 5 expression pedals as well. And that's superb. That really is superb, that each one of these has, you know, each one of these effects then has an expressive element depending on, you know, and look, if I was to press them all in, oh, it's hard work on your fingers. But yeah, you know, it's like all of them, you know, that's unlikely that you'd ever do that. But all of them are independent and work by applying expression. And yes, that expression can be mapped to various things. Again, in the editor, we can get quite deep about that sort of stuff. GNU Ninja saying, yes, but you play barefoot. I do play barefoot sometimes, not often. Well, on stage. I do play barefoot sometimes on stage, but yeah, I think this is a shoes. This is a shoes effect. Few other things before we start playing with sounds, though, just whilst we're finishing this tour. 3 quick taps on this one, and well, on the last pedal, you have to set this up. It won't default to this, but 3 quick presses, and it gives you a really cool tuner. Ooh. But no polytune, which is a bit strange. Yeah, individual 2 saying, does this accept line level? There's no switch to sort of step it down to line level. But it seems to, in my limited time I've been playing with it, it seems to work quite nicely with, you know, high output, so line level. But yeah, so you've got a tuner, and one of the biggest tuner displays on a foot pedal I've ever seen, which I think is actually quite cool. Oh, we got sound. Okay, maybe it's time for a little bit of sound. Cresshead saying, I love my polytune clip-on for guitar. I saw that you can get that, a clip-on. That looks interesting. Harry Turner Project saying, would be helpful to synth users if the sensitivity of the mash effect could be changed. Yeah, do you know, I think, you know, yes, I agree with that, but I really don't think they're that bothered about synth users. Sadly, I think this is I think this is very much designed to be a guitar unit. Although, as I say, it does take you know, quite hot level, and it does have, as you may notice, it does have stereo in and stereo out as well. And there is a mono effects loop where you could patch in other things. Okay, so we've got this. Let's just take off the release on this. Let's make a really simple little, and make sure, let's get rid of all our effects off the OP1. Effects are off. Yeah, let's turn that effect off as well. Okay. All right. So, you know, I don't know how much we'll want to do this, but you know, it is it's a great it is a really cool sounding effect. Oh, I've accidentally swapped the chorus and the delay around. Let's put them back. Oh, did I? I put the chorus. I don't know. I swapped them around, but there we are. Okay, so I'm going to the reverb, and straight away I'm going to want to adjust it. So I'll need to go into Edit. Make sure I select reverb there. Decay. So I'm just going to get a little sequence on the go with the classic endless sequencer. Still one of my favourite sequencers, this is. Okay, so what I'll do now though is I'll change some of the tone prints, and when you change a tone print, whatever you've set these 3 controls to do will remain the same. So I'll put them all roughly in the middle. Cathedral. Try changing. And we do, yes, we do have the shimmer. But you can see you are restricted to just the 3 parameters that are dictated by the tone print. Angelic voices, that sounds good. Let's just play with the sound a little bit on here. I mean, TC have got a fantastic legacy of effects, of reverbs especially. And there's loads of tone prints available here. Flange verb. And we can see, as I say, decay, tone, effects level, but the tone in this case, high color, delay time 1, mod feedback. So they're like macro knobs really, aren't they? The decay here is decay and mod feedback high cut. Yeah, out of interest, let's see what the mash does. Not hearing a lot of mash there. But yeah, I mean, it's going to hurt your finger applying the necessary power. Hey, Helen Stanley, how you doing? Helen Stanley, sound of Ursa, a recent guest on one of my videos, a wonderful musician, playing in the band Asteroid Deluxe and the band Rumbelows with her. Wonderful musician. Also plays in Cripple Black Phoenix. A remarkable musician. Interstellar. So, we're just using one effect here, aren't we? Just the reverb. Let's get some delay on as well. So I flick into edit, hit the switch for the delay. I got my feedback, delay control and level. Again, loads and loads and loads of tone prints here. Memory Man. Some Memory Man, I guess. Ping pong, get some stereo. Let's have some new notes. Oops. Play with the envelope a bit. Slower attack. Oh, bit in harmonic. Okay, so we're kind of getting the gist, I think. Tape echo clean. Just 2 effects on at the moment. Let's get our tremolo on. See what the mash does. Oh, actually, let's see what the mash does on. Take that on the delay. So I think if I went to edit, yeah, I would need to get into the. I'd need to get into the app to tweak the mash settings. Tremolo. So, phaser. So we're getting into multi-effect mush here, but they are nice sounding effects. And we can hear the mash effect quite clearly there on the phaser. So you can hear the speed of that phaser is variable depending on the pressure that I put on the switch. So Helen Stanley in the chat room, I'm going to fry her brains next time we do some Asteroid Deluxe with these mash switches. And some chorus then as well. Let's have a listen to that chorus. It is lush. The Corona chorus is a real winner. Again, it's based on the fantastic heritage of TC's chorus. Depth, speed. Morgan Llewellyn saying review the Zoya. Yeah, I mean, it's been on the cards for a long time. It's definitely one I want to do. And it's a pedal that you can get it in Eurorack format as well, called the Zoya Boya. No, the Euro Bureau. Not the Zoya Boya. The Euro Bureau. Yeah. The SCF chorus. That is based on that original TC chorus. Let's go for some different sort of sound now, I think. Okay. What was that? My word. Sorry about that. My goodness. Okay. Whoa. Okay, this would be quite nice to try some. The chorus and the reverb. That'd be a classic. Well, the mash is disabled on the chorus, so let's enable. Well, actually, the probably easiest way to enable that is just to pick a different one. Let's try Liquid Tri-Chorus. Ooh, listen to that. So when I say when you're on this top level, when you're at the top level, this play level here, these three knobs don't do anything unless we assign it to do things. So to do that, I'd flick into Edit, I'd scroll right to the bottom of our effects chain and go into Settings. Then I've got a choice of Global or Board. Remember, they call these boards. So we'll go to Board, we'll select, and now here's a few options we've got here. I wonder if I can get in a bit closer with the camera. Expression assignment, yes, because there is also an expression pedal assignment, although you've got your 4 expression pedals really here. And then we've also got our hot knobs, and that's what we're going to be looking at. And then we've got the second foot switch function. So what that means is the first foot switch function is essentially turning it on and off. The second foot switch function is either, and then we can do this on a per pedal basis, is either mash or non in the case of the chorus. Phaser, mash or non. Tap tremolo is either mash or tap tempo. Yeah. Delay, same, mash or tap tempo. Reverb is either mash or non. So really, only the, well, of the ones that I've got loaded in, only the tap tremolo and the delay then have the facility to have a tapped in tempo. Okay, anyway. Oh yeah, and then the FX loop insert. Let's just come back out of this. Yeah, we can choose where the loop gets inserted. You know, in between, at the beginning, before one, into one, you know, and so forth. And then you can choose, which is kind of nifty. But we're not using that now anyway. Let's come back out of here, and then we're going to go to the hot knobs. Yes, it's very hot in here, so I'm assuming I've got a hot knob too. But we don't really want to talk about that. But it is boiling. Right, hot knobs. So just our 3 knobs, and it doesn't allow these to be hot. Oops. It doesn't allow these to be mappable in any way. I guess, though, these are pots rather than encoders. They do hit a kind of, you know, they go from there to there, whereas these are endless encoders. But even still, it's a shame, isn't it? You've got 2 knobs that you can't do anything with in the play mode. Oh well. But anyway, we do, though. Let's get back in a bit closer. So what we can do is we can decide what this knob is gonna control, and then so if I click and go yes, in the chorus I could go, I want it to control speed, okay, but I'm not restricted to that. I could go into phaser and say speed as well. And then, you know, if we look now in the chorus, I don't know, you can see speed is lit there for chorus and speed is lit there for phaser. So tap tremolo, also speed. Yeah, we've set that to speed as well. Delay, well, we'll call that delay as well. And then in reverb, decay. Yes, so in fact, yeah, look, you can make it, you can basically map the one knob to control all the parameters of all of the effects simultaneously. So if we jump back out now to our play mode, I tell you what I'd love though. I would love to be able to also then make the mash behavior do that kind of thing, but you can't. That's a shame, isn't it? And that would be really cool. Because that's... you know, having that kind of... having that sort of intensity of effect when you apply the mash, that would really... Let's put all the effects on. Plug in an expression pedal is Harry Turner is asking. I happen to have one here, so I will do your bidding. This is an M Audio one, an EXP, which I think, does it have it? Yes, it does have a switch on there. So I might have to fiddle with the switch to work out what the polarity of the input is. Let's have a look on the back of here. And yeah, let's chuck that in there. I'm pretty sure that this works in a similar way to the hots, to the hot knobs. Hot knobs! Right, switch. Oh, let's get back to this view here. Switch all the way down to the bottom here. Settings. Board. Expression assignment. Yes. Modifier. Yes. Chorus. Yes. Expression modifier. Depth. Yes. Speed. Oh yeah. Effects level. It looks like it does work in the same way. So let's just see now. Let's just jump out of here a moment. Turn these off. Yeah. So it works, it does work like in that way then, like I was wanting the individual ones to work. So maybe that's pretty cool. Maybe that's the way to do it then. And just to make absolutely sure we can do that, we go settings, we jump back in, board, yes, expression assignment, yes, modifier, yes, phaser, yes, speed, yes, depth, yes, feedback, yes. What is at the top? Expression modifier. Oh no, that's... oh. Expression modifier. I'm not sure what that actually does, but I can turn that on and off. Need to figure that one out. But yes, let's just make this pedal change everything. Speed. Oh, I think it probably does need, probably that just turns it on. Let's just, I think that is an essential thing to turn on. Let's just pop that back on for there. Yes. Oh no, it was off on there. I don't know what it does. Okay, let me keep on. I want to, yes, I'm going to make the beastiest expression pedal that affects everything. That's just like the kind of crazy guy I am. Okay, delay. Yes, turn it all on. On. This isn't much fun, is it? Let me zoom out so you can see them. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Yeah. So I'm just enabling all of these here. And then finally reverb on. Just turning all of these on. Need to look what the expression modifier actually does. Right. Synth Addict saying it's like they adjust everything on the Electron Digitact. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Pedal platform. Thank you. Expression modifier does whatever you map in the Toneprint editor rather than the knobs. Okay. Cool. Mono input, stereo output, mono input or stereo input. Stereo output or mono output. Yeah. Okay, so everything is mapped now. Yeah, we can see there is a little expression pedal icon on all of these. Turn these effects on. Oof. All right, so here we go. So it's dangerous. I thought it would be dangerous, and it definitely is. Yeah, pretty cool. Okay, so I mean, not pretty cool, but not particularly useful. Well, in the way that I've set it up, but definitely useful. So an expression pedal is certainly valid alongside those mash abilities. And as you did notice as well, then in those settings there as well, it does enable us. If we go back down to here and go settings, board, expression, it could also be a volume pedal. And when it's a volume pedal, you can choose where you want the volume pedal to be. So that's kind of nice as well. So, and then also follow the effect loop before the send, after the return. But that's really nice because you might want to put it through some certain stuff and then bring the volume in. Yeah, okay, that is nice. So yeah, there's a lot of nice things to be said about this thing, Just to recap, in case you're just joining though, we are looking at the TC Electronic Plethora X5. Most certainly designed for guitarists. We are more kind of synthy based here, or well, I like bass as well, but and I was curious to see if this could double up as a desktop unit, and mixed results would be my answer. Synthetic saying, you missed why this is not good for table use. Well, a few reasons. I think the main reason is you'd expect the MIDI input to be able to take some sort of clock, some MIDI clock, to synchronize the delays and the other tempo-based effects, and you can't. So, and in fact, you cannot have any synchronicity, any time sync between the individual effects as well. So if you were to set a tap tempo into one thing, you can't give it like a global tempo. And I think that's a bit of a deal breaker for some people, who really want it to be, synced. And also there is another thing. So, right, okay. So I've just created this pedal board, and so what I could do there, I could flick down to edit. Everything auto saves, by the way, as well. So whatever your settings are, however you set it up, if I was to kind of, in fact, I can improve this, I suppose, go to a different pedal board, Whitesnake. That first patch is called Whitesnake. Trivia fans, Whitesnake is, in fact, the band Whitesnake did get its name from the lead singer David Coverdale's Willie. There we go. The White Snake, as it was known, apparently. There we go. Yeah, that's a point. It sucks. The MIDI thing. Yeah, so what the MIDI allows you to do, well, we can actually even, let's just have a little look at that whilst we're talking about it. If I was to come down the bottom into our settings here and go into global and then go into MIDI, then we can have a channel select, so we can choose what MIDI channel it responds to. So for program change, and also there's a CC table. Now the CC table lets us, it doesn't let you map loads of things, but it lets you map, you can map a switch to move up and down through the pedal boards, to switch the different pedals on, 3 CC controls for the hot knobs, looper, record, play, clear and pause. And I think beyond that, that's everything. Okay, so it's kind of sensible amount of stuff, but it doesn't let you, for instance, get into the, it doesn't let you map to the individual pedals effects. You'd have to set, if you wanted a CC control, for instance, to adjust delay feedback, you'd have to assign it to a hot knob, and then your CC control will work. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, let's come back out of here. I mean, one of the things about this, Synthetic says, like Steely Dan. Yeah, Steely Dan named after a certain steam-powered device in William Burroughs' Naked Lunch. Now, you notice I used the word device there. My last week's show, last Wednesday, fantastic show if you haven't seen it, with Geert Bevan, and the story of MPE. I think that's one of the best shows I've done. A really, really good show. But I did mention, like Geert was mentioning about haptics in the air, and I thought a certain industry might be interested in that, being able to feel vibration in air. And also, I think I mentioned about wearing a certain amount of things that you wear for certain protective purposes. Look at me tiptoeing around these words. Anyway, my show got struck off for the advertising for last week because of it said inappropriate content for most advertisers. Come on, I was just making little gags, but anyway, there we go. So you do have to be you have to be really, really careful about what you say regarding rude things. How about that? So, Whitesnake. Will Whitesnake get this channel? Will Whitesnake get this show, get the advertising turned off? Right. We will see. I've totally thrown myself now. What on earth was I saying? Oh, yeah. All right. I was going about Midi. Oh yeah. Or look, yeah, I've changed boards, but if I was to navigate back to the board that we made, there everything is. Oh, I tell you what though. Maybe it doesn't. Oh, hang on. I think there's Whitesnake. 22, that was our last board. Oh yeah, no. Everything is exactly with all of the, in fact we could hear, put them on. Yeah, everything is as, so it's auto saving. So whatever you do, it changes. Atomic Tom, tune in next week to find out. Yes. I was saying something about greasy knobs. Yes, I was. Oh no, what have I started? Okay. Yes, GNU Ninja is saying the YouTube algorithm is very prudish. But anyway, yes. Yeah, to dispute about it, maybe. But Synthetic was saying about last week, it was a great show. Love MPE. Yeah. And don't worry, folks are too sensitive. An over-sanitized world. Yes. There may be young babies watching who are, considering whether a Plethora would be a useful thing for their desktop synth collection. Anyway, so yeah, it does auto kind of save, and that is kind of good because it means I think the reason it's doing that is because it's really trying to carry this thing on about it being like, like pedals. Pedals essentially auto-save, don't they? You change a setting on a pedal, then it's changed. Oh, Synced Alien is clarifying exactly what David Coverdale jokingly stated that the name Whitesnake was a euphemism was, whereas in fact it came from a song of the same name found on his first solo album. Yes, but maybe that song was about his Todge. Now will the algorithm find Todge? And Todge being short for Todger, just to clarify that. Anyway, I'm so sorry. I'm just derailing myself here. Right. This autosave thing is kind of cool, but you do have to be aware of that as well if you are using it live, that if you were to switch to a different board and you had messed with a setting, then that setting will be how it was when you last had it. Right. Where was I? Yes, I know. There's another thing we're going to do. I'm going to create a new board. So I come to edit, I flick up and go create. So board 23. And yes, you can name the boards, but you need to use the app for that. And the app is something that we haven't really delved into too much, and I will. That is something I really want to show you, because the depth of the programmability of this is gigantic. In fact, there's almost too many parameters that you can play with. Now, I do know that with some of the tone prints that have been created with, say, famous guitarists, for instance, that they've worked in conjunction with engineers from TC who have, probably done a lot of the tweaking. And there's a bunch of videos showing that process. Deep Purple taking on a whole plethora of new connotations, says Canoe Ninja. Yes. Captain Beefheart's name has a number of different origin theories, says Steve Elbows. Yes. Oh, Wagyu saying to use the word prawn or something for that particular industry. Not that I ever have mentioned that before on any other show, I hasten to add. 10cc, anyone, says Andrew Brooks. The average amount. Oh, no, it's not the average amount, though. That's the whole thing, isn't it? It was, I think 9cc was the average amount, but so 10cc was that little bit more. Anyway, that rather, 10cc, one of my all-time favourite bands. I love them so much, but sadly, it was the horrific man of Jonathan King who did come up with that name, which gives it an extra seedy sinisterness, really. Anyway, we have spent far too long in that territory. Let's get back to this. So, this is the thing I'm going to show you now. We loaded in a bunch of effects. What I didn't load in, though, was the loopers. Now, yes, there is a looper in here, and this looper, TC do make loopers in what they call the Ditto range. And the Dittos come from very simple ones through to some with a lot more sort of flexibility. Now, the sad thing about this, I'm afraid, is that all of these loopers, I say all of these loopers, yes, the good thing is that you can load in loopers onto every channel, which that was the thing that made me want to get this. I just thought, yeah, I'm sure, you all know how much I love my loop pedals. Is that, have I put them in everyone? Maybe I didn't do it in this one, did I? Yes, let's have a look. Here we go. Now look how cool this is now. And funnily enough, actually, let's just complete the tape analogy with the OP1 as well. Right. So we've got five loopers, and it's the single switch loop, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. Once to start recording, look, it's cool, goes red. Once to stop, and you can see if there's a loop on there, it gets like the reel looks full as opposed to those empty ones, and it does like a weird glitch, and that weird glitch is to indicate where the loop end point is, like that. Now you can set another one up. These loops, they can be 80 seconds each, or in in mono, or 40 seconds in mono, which is kind of all right for this kind of thing, but not great compared to some other loopers. And I will do some looping on it in a moment. In fact, why not do it now? But I was just going to show you. The thing is, now all these loopers, they're all independent of each other. There is no loop sync between any of them, which is a super big shame. Because if you want to try and do something with multiple loops, then unless it's an ambient thing or like a Frippatronics-y kind of thing, then forget it. It's super hard. If you try and you're slightly off, your loops are going to start to drift. So really, TC, please, I think to bring some global tempo in and make these loopers maybe work off a global tempo. And what I would really love to see, much like the RC505, Cresshead is mentioning, does have a more useful display. It's everyone knows who watches this show, I love the Boss RC505. But it, you know, if these could all, if you could set a setting that would make these loopers follow like the global tempo, and if you could also set them so, if you could set like a kind of some sort of factor on them, so if there's a master loop, then this one, if you do it, you could do, if you did a loop that was longer than the first one and pressed to stop it, it won't stop recording until it reaches the loop point there. So that would be 2 loops, exact identical loops to that one. But no, there's none of that on here, sadly. So these loopers are just all independent little things. Now, I mean, there's huge creative potential with that, so it's not an awful thing by any stretch. I mean, it's still cool and got lots of creative uses. In fact, let's have a little bit of music now, and let's do something now. So I'm gonna, obviously I've given up all my effects here, just out of interest. Oh yeah, so it's that single press. Like if I press it again, it'll go into overdub. So I can just dip in and out of overdub. Double tap, pause, it's flashing. Long press, stop, it's not flashing. Oh, sorry, long press and hold. Sorry, no, I'm wrong. Double tap, stop. Long press, clear. Long press, clear. Let's just see if you can do it 3 at the same time. 3 long presses, clear. Yes, you can. So again, this is kind of backing up that thing that I'm noticing, that you can think about these as 5 separate, you know, it's like 5 separate pedals. It just happens to be in a single casing, you know, and that I think is the most healthiest way of approaching this. To think about it that way. Right. Synth Addict saying, damn, Calc keeps streaming during this show. Oh, Calc, a former guest of this show. And a far greater musician than myself. Oh, he's brilliant, Calc. Why am I saying this? No, he's rubbish. Stay here. Watch me. As your head saying, you'd need to be able to heel and toe to do that. Yeah. Right. So let's do something. Let's do something. Let's get some effects. We'll use some of the. Right. Let's get a bit more softer attack here. Okay, I'm just going to record some old nonsense here. So deliberately doing them so they're all kind of out of sync with each other. And this is, yeah, RAM loopers. There's no way the loops won't stay in the memory. If as soon as you change a board, they'll be gone. Let's get down. Let's get some bassier sound. Rubbish tune, but it'll have to do for now. So off they go, and there's not really much we can do with it. If we flick into edit, the only thing we can do is change their levels. It's the only thing we can do. So you can't reverse them or make them go half time or anything else that some of the other TC pedals do and other loopers do. So really, it's a looper of very simple looper. Let's kill it. Okay, so yeah, that's that. Right, I think it's time we start to delve into the editor though now, because I think those are I think we've pretty much covered everything on that you can pretty much do with it on board. One last thing, I suppose, is that if you go yeah, like a triple tap on the first switch will then triple tap on the first switch will take you into this mode where you can pick your pedal boards. Okay, like so. Yeah, and you can go up and down whilst, and then but as soon as you pause for a moment, it'll load it in. And here's just one more little gotcha. It's a very minor one, but I mentioned earlier to get into the tuner involves triple tapping this final one here, but triple tapping it to get into the tuner, look, it actually started the looper. So if you did have a looper in last place, which is quite a sensible place to have the looper, and you're doing a gig or something and then you wanted to go into the tuner, you could inadvertently put something into the loop just trying to activate the tuner. Okay, so that is just, it's a little thing. Look, I mean, there's no way of getting in there, because you've got to go 3 super quick taps, come back out of here, look, and that, you know, if you had a bit of noise going on, that could be a pretty horrible thing, just as, you know, because you might not notice it going in. You might not notice, yeah, because you would probably want the looper at the end of your chain. Or that's certainly a decent kind of thing. But yeah, so imagine that, right? Maybe your guitar's kind of ringing out some noise. It's ringing out some noise, and then, or whatever you're playing, it's ringing out some noise, and you go into the tuner. I did that really badly then. Let's do that again. Wipe the tuner. But yeah. And then you come out, look, quick, what the hell is that? So yeah. Yeah, I don't know that so much that's a bug. I think it's just a thing of making it, of putting a looper on there. And then remember that tuner functionality is an option. So yeah, it's a pretty small thing. Okay, I think it's time. I need to get the editor open back up again on here, and let's do that. Let's have a little look at this editor. Right. So it should follow. Have I got this? Not that one. That one. All right. Bit of a weird image here, but we can work with it. It was this page was set up for the iPad, which just decided to stop working. I'm going to flick down a different board. Let's go to this one then for now. And then when I think I might just need to connect to a Bluetooth pedal. Yes. so you do have to, it's pretty quick to do though. I'm going to come back here, global Bluetooth connect to it. Yeah, and we're in. Okay, great, we're in. And now it is kind of pretty cool. So this chorus, for instance, now if we hit the little pencil icon, ooh, we're not getting to see the whole screen here. Let me figure out how to do this. Let's have a little look and see if I can improve this here. Scene B. I'm just going to edit my little video setup here one moment, just to see if I can get the whole thing in. Channel B. I haven't got any cropping on. All right. It's pretty small. We can see the whole thing there. Again, this was great with the iPad. We were looking at the full screen of the iPad. Can I make that look any better? Yes, I probably can actually. So let's zoom it a bit and let's move it up. View position, vertical. Oh, my phone is on low batteries. Okay, here we go. I think this gives us everything that we need to see. Okay. Kill dry available from here, which obviously that is cool if you want to use this as an effect send. Modulation. So we're looking, as I say, at the liquid tri-chorus here, but LFO type, sines and sine of cosine, triangle. Mappings. Now the mappings, well, sorry, I didn't finish looking at here really. So we've got lots of controls, delay times for our chorus part. See the mappings though, this is kind of interesting because for each one of the knobs you can have it adjust 3 different parameters, and depending which parameter you're adjusting, you can choose exactly the behavior. This from left to right, this funny thing that I'm moving around here, is the kind of behavior of turning a knob from top to bottom. So if you only wanted it to only go up a little bit, you could do that, and then, you know, but also as you turn it up a little bit more, you can have it going off and then come back on again. And that's for just sort of, in this case, modulation depth 2, and so forth. So you can see that the adjustability of a single turn, you can really put a lot of detail into that. You can make it, you know, you can scale it to do all sorts of stuff. Expression pedal. So yeah, so we can set up our expression pedal as well in some depth as well here. So that's kind of pretty cool. And then this is the thing I kind of wanted to see though. The mash works in the same way. So mash is this pressure applied to the switch, and we can choose 3 parameters for the mash to affect. And again, this thing here, I'm just going to pick something. Tape flanger for now will do. Oh, I didn't select it. Tape flanger, done. You know, you can select the behavior of the switch. So as you press down more, you know, it could be doing very, 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 very little, very, very little until you get to the end of and then it'll just do a lot, you know. So lots to kind of play around with. And if I switch to another, in fact, let's just go to the editor here. Oh yeah, no, I do have to jump back in. So the default phaser, you know, you get quite a lot of stuff that you can do. So here, this is like a stereo phaser. You know, we can have, you know, order. Well, what would we also call that? Not poles. What do they call it? It's like in phases, sort of just the amount of phases we're having, individual phases, I suppose, 4, 8, or 10, and you can have them different on the left and on the right. Speed, depth, phase of feedback, range, phase. Oh, you can flip the phase, reverse, left or right. I'm making some of this up again. And then there's our mappings and mash, and all of that sort of stuff is available. So if you're prepared to roll your hands up and get dirty. Oh, look at that. It crashed it. Right. I don't want my phone to be seen, because in case it sort of gives away something, I don't want people to see. I don't know what that would be, but I don't want to do it anyway. I don't know. Look, it crashed. So that's a bad thing. Hello, it's come back. It's come back in. It's all right. Pedal Platform saying current limit is 4 reverbs. Thank you, Pedal Platform. You definitely know your stuff. So I did think you could load it up with 5 reverbs, but that's cool. That's good to know that you can only have, well, good to know, bad to know. I don't know. Who needs 5 reverbs stacked on top of each other? Well, I'm assuming that you could have 5 reverbs all set up, but only 4 of them would sound at the same time. Oh yeah, but look now, actually, now we're in the settings of the delay. We've got a lot more kind of parameters available to us. And oh, look at this, for a tape echo, inertia. Oh, I know also what I wanted to show you. Let's just jump back out of here a moment. If we come back here and we go into all tone prints for the Plethora, then this is another way of browsing things, really. Like, let's say we wanted to look at the delay. Well, here's all our artists now. And again, you know, guitarists. Oh, look, Walking on the Moon. Oh, why is it going off that? Let me try that again. Walking on the Moon, delay. Yeah. With this tone print, Andy sought to model his beloved Echoplex, which has been a mainstay throughout his career. So that's cool. So Andy Summers of the Police has actually worked with TC for his Walking on the Moon delay, which is kind of pretty cool. However, you cannot go in and, I mean, I might be wrong about this. Maybe Pedal Platform can confirm this or not. If you happen to know, you can't edit so if I was to go store in board now, I've got as an option here my Walking on the Moon delay, and thus all of the settings have kind of come across from that. Okay. So that's kind of cool, but you might want to kind of tweak. So you can't tweak these. Oops, I need to be in edit mode. So if I wanted to make a little adjustment to Andy's Walking on the Moon delay, you can't. Right, artist tone prints are locked for editing. They wouldn't want us plebs knowing their secrets. Oh, is that why? I feel that is a shame. That gets a black mark for me, because you might like it, but you might want to change a little bit about it. Okay. But anyway, so that relates then to these artist ones. But then the TC ones themselves, the TC tone prints, I think are fully editable. I think so. If I come out of here, Actually, if I go into the compressor, I did notice this when in the compressor. Oh, sorry, let me get this up so we can see what's going on. A Sound Sync says this wouldn't be over. Just add a looper delay after the box to overcome its limitations. Like a separate one. Yeah, Pedal Platform saying yes. So all the TC templates are fully editable. Right. So if I was to go here, for instance, then into the TC tone prints, then, and go into this compressor. Wow. Right. The pencil icon is available, which allows us to go in to. I was looking at this. The compressor. Look at this. In terms of complexity. There's loads of things that can be adjusted on this. My goodness, what threshold all, threshold low, threshold. Okay, so we got a three band compressor. It's a bit confusing, this editor. It would be great if they were kind of color coded in the columns or something. It does. It's a little bit hard to navigate, but and the text about the parameters is really, really small. However, this is on my phone, so therefore, you know, having a very deeply editable effect is pretty cool. I have read some criticism about this compressor, though, being quite hissy and quite noisy, so I think you do need to be a little bit careful. Are there editors available for other platforms? I think so. I think they exist on Android, but I think there is a desktop editor as well. That's probably the one, actually. That's what I should install, I think. Anyway, I'm gonna end pretty soon because this little show tonight really was. I mean, this is new to me. I got it for my pedal board specifically. Yes, Pedal Platform's confirming it. So Pedal Platform clearly is somebody who, if you're interested in this, is the person to seek out. Pedal Platform, do you have a YouTube channel? Because it sounds like you know all there is to know about this, which is great. It's really nice to have you. Thank you so much for joining. It's really good to have someone who knows about it. Original Synth is saying it's a little bit less Tetris than the Zoya, but it's about 5 times the size. No, I think it's probably two. It's like 2 Zoyas, I think. Thank you very much, Pedal Platform. Yeah, so I wasn't originally going to do a show about this. I literally bought it for my pedal board, and essentially to be a delay and a few other things. The delay on my pedal board is so noisy. I love it. It's called a Rubberneck from Dodd, but it's really noisy. Oh, thanks, Wagyu. So kind. So that is a super chat, is it? Super chat. Right. Play. The compressor I've put at near the end of the chain, so maybe I don't know what's just happened. Don't matter. Anyway, I'm going to finish now. I wasn't really going to do much in the way of music tonight. Pedal Platform. Yes, I do have a channel. It's Pedal Platform. I have a bunch of tutorials on the Plethora Toneprint editor, as well as some lesson stellar playing and demoing other stuff. Fair play. Thanks ever so much for tuning in, though, and helping out in the chat room with filling us in with the extra details. That's been really, really helpful. Jam us out, says Harry Turner. Okay, I think let's. So I think what I'll do then for the jam out then is I'll just use some of the built-in. Let's have a look. What's that now? That says harmony in C#. Let's do that then. Let's play with this. So this is using the Quintessence Harmony. Let's get a nice sound on the OP1 to play with. So we get a nice harmony notes there. Let's get a little bit of this. So I think what I'll do is then I'm going to modify this, and in the end here I'm going to have a looper on the end. Let's check a looper there. Yeah, I've got a delay. Actually, I want a reverb, so I'm going to switch out the delay for a reverb. So you can see this side of stuff is refreshingly quick. I mean, you know, I'm setting this up. I've got a nice reverb. I could choose what reverb I want. I'm going to go for, let's go for that cathedral vibe. Let's go ambient. Cathedral vibe there. And I'll swap. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a delay. So I'll swap out the flanger for a delay, and we'll do that, and then we'll find a Toneprint. Ian Tyndale saying, when the police were formed, Andy Summers was about 10 years older than the other two. Probably still is. Very funny. But Andy Summers also comes from, like, much more from the proggy background, although Stuart Copeland had been playing in the prog band Curved Air. And a little known police story, which I think is fantastic. I'm a huge Gong fan. Some of you might know that. And the police really, the police had formed when Stuart Copeland had seen Sting playing with his band Last Exit, which was a bit of a kind of jazz fusion band, and poached him for his project, The Police. That was Stuart Copeland's idea. And they had Henry Padovani on guitar, who plays with my good friend Chris Musto in the Flying Padovanis now, these days. But so the Police had Henry Padovani as the guitarist. But anyway, Mike Howlett, who was the bass player of Gong, who also went on to be a great record producer. Echo Beach he produced as one of the many hits. Martha and the Muffins. But anyway, he put a band together called Strontium 90. And their first gig was supporting like a Gong reunion concert, in Paris. And who were the members of Strontium 90 was Mike on bass. Also on bass and lead vocals was Sting. On drums was Stuart Copeland. And on guitar was, in fact, Andy Summers. It's the first time they all played. So the Police, first time they all played together was actually in that band, Strontium 90, at a Gong reunion concert. There we go. The Gong. See, Gong, people try and diminish how important Gong are. Gong, amazing. Debut gig with that lineup was Cleopatra's in Newport, says Steve Powell. That's interesting. It's funny though, when you do listen to the Police albums, like those first albums, and actually the second and third especially, they got some nice kind of jazz, spacey, jazzy kind of, little bit of gongy kind of vibe in places on some of the album tracks. So actually, I'm putting the Walking on the Moon delay in on here. Right. So I've got this quintessence harmony on. Oh yeah, so the mash, when you use the harmony thing, it moves the harmonies up like to the next tone up. It's a bit quiet, but you can sort of, if you're playing that on guitar, you definitely could get quite a nice kind of pedal steel kind of effect, I think. The compressor in channel 1 is too boring for our ambience. So what I think I'll do is, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to put a looper at the start and there's a looper at the end. Yes! So I can make something loop. Yeah, let's do that. So I can start messing with things. I should have mapped some things as well. Oh, that's interesting. The expression pedal is by default is volume. Map into volume. I wish you could mess with these loops. Having the graphics of tape, of decks, you know, reel to reel. It's just, you know, just to be able to slow it down and do different things just would be cool, but we can't. Well, not yet. Maybe we will be able to. I don't know if I'm in a jamming mood, I'm afraid. Yes, yes, yes. Let's just get something on the go here now. Wonder what Alan Holdsworth would have done with a Plethora. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the great Alan Holdsworth, sadly no longer with us. God, Britain has turned out some good guitarists over the years, though. We mentioned Andy Summers, Alan Holdsworth, incredible. Bit of a nonsense that I'm recording now. The bass kind of cut it off. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I think I've got stuff to do. I've got loads of stuff to do, and I've got a session starting tomorrow early as well. I got to rejig the studio around for that as well, and but yeah. So overall, I think the Plethora is a very, very cool pedal. You know, I did mention some of the limitations, and those limitations are going to be, are going to affect people in different ways. But I do think the sound quality of the effects is very, very good. It handles line levels really well, and you know, it's a cool piece of kit. I do like it. I think it's yeah, and it's going to go on my pedal board, so it's going to have to take some serious stomping. And I might report back in the future about it. Well, I will. I'll let you know how I get on with it. I'm looking forward to using it once I actually get back out and playing gigs again. Hooray! Soon. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, I've been a gigging musician like all my life since my first gig when I was 15, and I don't want to whinge because we're all in the same boat, but missing gigging so much. Thanks everyone. I hope you've enjoyed this little look at this Plethora, again, from the perspective of maybe it being a tabletop effects unit, which, yeah, it could function in some ways, but there might be better options for that than this. But on the floor, though, and with those 5 expression pedals, then there's nothing else quite like that. So, yeah, I'm gonna be I'm going to be using it on my pedal board. I've got a volume pedal, an expression pedal, a distortion, and a synth pedal, and a few others. What else have I got? I've got a feedback pedal, and I think the combination then. And I got another distortion, like a preamp rather. So this is going to handle all the modulation, reverb, and delay kind of things. Now, this is for my bass pedal, my bass pedal board, and people are like, reverb. What are you talking about? Well, with Asteroid Deluxe, for instance, space rock band I play in, we do these kind of big ambient sort of sections, so reverb is fantastic for that sort of thing. But also in the Charlotte Church Pop Dungeon, there's a lot of effects going on. We use all sorts of transitions as well, so having lots of kind of spatial kind of delays and reverbs and stuff is really great. But anyway, I'm going to say thank you again once more. Please consider clicking like and subscribe if you can, if you want to, and click that stinking bell if you want to know every time I go live, for those sadists of you out there. Yeah, I'm going to be back. I was a little bit low on Monday. I'm feeling a bit low. Apparently everyone's YouTube channels have been seeing quite a big dip at the moment for various reasons, probably people coming out of lockdown, the summer, all sorts of things perhaps, but anyway, yeah. Original Synth is asking me how big would my board be if I had all my pedals on it. Oh my god, I would need like a big piece of tin sheet, corrugated iron or something, probably about the size of a car, I reckon. Nice thought though. Yeah, I have got quite a lot of pedals. I decided not to feel guilty about that anymore, though. Just checking if there's any other questions before I go. If anyone has any questions, Paul Crane is saying TC electronic pedals are built like tanks for reasonable prices. I think yes, that the build quality is very good on this. I would definitely use it. I would definitely use it on my pedal board. I would use it, and I'm intending to use it for professional gigs. Got some pretty big gigs, quite important gigs in terms of, a lot of people. So I would feel confident with it already. My feeling is that the streamlined kind of way that it works is going to translate really well to live. So again, that was my reason for buying it, but I wanted to explore it just to see how it could work in this kind of environment. I'm repeating myself a little bit, and but yeah, any other questions before I go about this, or yeah, I didn't really mention many good guitarists. There's so many great guitarists from Britain, but Alan Holdsworth, Jeff Beck. Alan Holdsworth and Jeff Beck, probably two of the greatest, maybe. John McLaughlin, of course. And there's a load of others. I mean, I was avoiding some of the obvious ones, but, but Andy Summers, God. Gary Green, very underrated. There was that Jimmy Page guy, says Jason Moyer. Yeah, I think he's a slightly overrated personally. His guitar solos make no sense. Like live, he's well messy. He just does a lot of nonsense. But he has obviously done loads of great stuff. Nick Drake, beautiful. What an amazing guitarist, really. Yeah. Steve Howe, yes. Again, mind you, for me, Steve Howe kind of peaked on the very first Yes album that he was on, the Yes album. And it's, I think that's his finest playing. Amazing. Al Di Meola is not British, so very good guitarist, but not British. I was just talking about great British guitarists. Rory Gallagher is he from Northern Ireland? Does he qualify as British? I think he was from Northern Ireland, actually. Amazing guitarist. But yeah. Anyway, I'm just waffling and staying on way longer than I need to. Thanks everybody. See you soon. I left out. I'm not mentioning the EC, that man. I think he's a miserable, overrated. Yeah, we're talking about Eric Clapton. He's done some good stuff, obviously, but I think Gilmour. Yeah, David Gilmour, John Martin. Yeah, okay. Gary Moore, amazing, actually. And I think Gary Moore's quite underrated. He played on some incredible stuff. Very, amazing Gary Moore. Yeah. Dan Johnson, Eric Clapton, racist. He did say he said some appalling things, but also he's just a cantankerous old, I don't know. Not a fan of how he's turned out. Carvus Torabi, like it, Harry Turner. Well, nice to mention Carvus. Yeah, but I wonder who will be the new generation of musicians from Britain who will, who can. Nigel Tufnell. Yeah, Steve Elbows is talking about the Eric Clapton outburst, where he's Tony Iommi, Wagyu, yes. Mark Bolan, yeah. Slash was born in the UK. Yes, he was, in Stoke-on-Trent, that most glamorous of locations. That's what always gets me, that does. I want to sort of stop, but I don't want to stop now because yeah, so yeah, okay, all right, I am going to go. Thanks a lot, everyone. Please tune in again if you can, and all that good stuff, and please take care. And oh my god, thank you, Jason Moyer, getting right in there, forgetting my favourite guitarist of all, Robert Fripp. How did I forget him? Yeah, Richie Blackmore as well. Yeah, loads of good ones. Okay,